Hello and welcome back to another episode of my MotoGP 22 career mode, and today we are here for the 14th and 15th rounds of our Moto3 season at Austria and San Marino. Now if you haven't seen the last episode, I do recommend you go check that one out before we do jump into this one so that you're not confused by what happened in the previous one and so there's no spoilers. So in the last episode we actually did have some very different races. We had Kimi Ring where we absolutely bolted, pulled away, we had so much pace in hand over the AI. And then Silverstone, where the AI were really on it. We had a good scrap, there was some controversy. Foggia crashed out of the lead on the final lap. We had a good battle with Sergio Garcia, but Garcia managed to outfox me, beat me to the line. But a great episode all in all, because we gained a lot of points on Mino and McPhee. So that really helped us out in the championship with the first and second position. Now the races we've got in this one, I'm not sure about Austria, honestly, because of course Austria's now got the new chicane. So that will change this track a fair amount, because it did not have many corners before, and that's another one added now. And obviously that long straight that was once there is now a lot shorter, so that might help us out as well, so we might not lose as much time to the AI on the straights. And Misano typically has been a very poor track for the AI, so we'll have to see how this one goes. But of course we've got to advance forward first to the races, and there we are straight to Austria, no notifications. So I guess we'll head into the Austrian GP and check out this new chicane. So at the end of practice then, and I'm not top of the timesheets for once, it's somebody else. Alberto Sura is on top of the timesheets, but look how close the field is. There's not even a tenth of a second from first to sixth. So the top 10 are all within 2/10 of a second. It's absolutely unbelievable. So it's super close at this circuit. The AI are looking super strong, especially in the sectors with the long straight. So sector 1, they're really good through there. I've pretty much got them everywhere else. They're not too bad in the last sector, to be fair, as well. And I don't even necessarily mean just on the straights. Actually, through the last couple of corners, they don't seem genuinely too bad. So it could be a bit of an interesting race. The lap I did was medium power 2, so potentially there is some more time on the table if I go soft power 3 for qualifying. So it could be really close. I don't know who is going to be able to get pole position, but it's close. It's anyone's game. I mean, look at the AI, they're actually up here. You can see obviously Sura's top, Watley's in 8th place. So this does lead me to believe that maybe there's something going on here, because usually when you have a weird AI order, you can sometimes get some of the simulated times issues. So we'll head into qualifying. Hopefully the time I've done is good enough to get through to Q2, but it might be one of those weekends where I have to go through Q1. So then, yes, it was still good enough to go through into Q2, fortunately. We've dropped down a couple of positions. You can see Masia and Mino have gone faster, but not really anybody else. And interestingly enough, if you look who's come through Q1, you've got Tatsuki Suzuki, Carlos Tatai, John McPhee, and Dennis Onchu. So some fast riders coming through there. So it is going to be a close weekend. The times are so close. And something I didn't even realise when heading into the weekend, the race is wet. So all this dry running is irrelevant. This sets the grid, but then after that, that's it. It's wet for the race, so that's unbelievable. So we haven't got to worry about tyres, which is not really something, to be honest, we've had to worry about all season. We've had plenty of tyres. Because the soft tyre is actually a usable tyre, you don't tend to run out of mediums anymore, so that's nice. But even still, on top of that, we definitely don't need to now. But I didn't realise it was a wet race, so that has changed my approach a little bit. I do definitely want to try and get pole position. There's only been one wet session so far, and I think that was qualifying at Portimao. There's not been any other kind of wet running that I've done all season anyway. There might have been some wet free practice sessions that I've not taken part in. So, yeah, I only really have that to go off. Obviously, we did get pole position on that occasion, but I did struggle a lot. So, jumping straight into a race with no sort of prior practice, that could be... yeah, that could be quite interesting. So this race may have turned on its head a little bit. I was already thinking that it could be a good battle, and that it was going to be a good scrap, but now in the wets, that could change it. That could give me a big advantage, that could give the AI a big advantage. I'm not sure which way it's going to swing, because it's actually proper rain, and I don't think I've done any actual rain running at all. I've done the wet track, obviously back in Portimao, but we've not actually had any rain, so I don't know particularly whether the players or the AI are struggling in the wet conditions. So coming up towards the line then to start my qualifying lap, I've not really got a marker. There is an AI up the road. I think it might be Masia, but I'm not 100% sure who it is, but they shouldn't get in my way. So coming out the last corner then, up towards the line, I completely folded the front to the last corner, but we managed to stay on. Up towards the line, what's this going to be? 1 minute 40.7, so 1.1 seconds quicker than what Suzuki's done. I'll tell you what, at that point, that might be good enough. To be honest, this would be a track where you're going to gain a lot from Power Mode 3. You see Foggia's now 8/10 behind. To be honest, I reckon that's probably good enough for pole. Tatai is on a red first sector, same with Masia, so maybe I don't want to speak too soon, but the first sector was the sector where they were better than me, and I did make a little bit of a mistake through the chicane as well. I think this time is going to be good enough. Watch Foggia in front here. You'll notice something very funny about what the AI do here. Into the pits, it seems to be without fail. Every time they slow down to go into the pits, they do a massive stoppie and end up falling off. It's rather silly. I just thought I'd point that one out as we come back into the pits here. So then, at the end of that qualifying session, it was indeed good enough for pole position, a hefty margin considering how close the field was in the previous practice session. You can see the AI is still pretty close, but even still, they aren't as close as they were previously because there's a couple of attempts here and there now, whereas the top 6 are all within a tenth of a second. So it seems like since FP1, the field have spread out a little bit more. It's not quite as close as it was, but it still seems like it's going to be a close field. However, the race, huge curveball, it is going to be wet, so none of this really matters. It sets the grid, of course, but the pace is not really going to transfer exactly. So I have no idea who's going to win this one. This should make it quite spicy for you guys, so hopefully it is a good race. Without any further ado then, we'll get down to the grid and just see how it pans out. So then we're down here on the grid looking at Yama Masia in 3rd position. Now this is literally the first time I'm riding in full wet conditions on this game. Of course, I've ridden in the wet track, like I said previously, like we had at Portimao, but that's it. I've not actually had proper raining conditions yet. Oh, actually, tell a lie, I have just remembered, I did join a lobby. Actually, it was Dr. Ace's lobby, if you know Dr. Ace, a fellow MotoGP content creator. I did join one of his lobbies, and that actually was full rain at Assen, and that was also on a Moto3 bike. So I have got the experience of that, but that was only a few laps, and that wasn't very good. So I've got a little bit of experience there with that, but honestly, not on this bike. It was a Honda, it wasn't even a KTM, so I don't think that's really going to help me particularly. So I just don't know how the AI are going to go. I think this could be a cracker. I don't really have anything else to say. Let's just get it started and see what happens.
The countdown is on here at the Red Bull Ring. Just a few more moments, and we'll see the start of the Austrian Grand Prix.
So there we are then on pole position. We've got to make this one count. We've got a big lead in the championship. I want to just keep extending it. We've just got to play it safe though. Make sure we don't crash. So there we are then. Lights are on. Waiting for the lights to go here at Austria. Lights out and away we go. It's been a somewhat decent start off the line. I did turn my touch control up if you did notice, just because it is wet conditions. But the AI have been very good into turn 1 all weekend, so I've got to watch out for that. But I have held the lead through the first corner. But here comes Garcia. Garcia's got a good run, so has Masia as well. So here comes Garcia, he overtakes me once again. So the last couple of races, it really has been Garcia that's been giving me a good run for my money. It's interesting to see how far down he is in the championship though. I think he's been quite unfortunate, but we've lost a few more positions there. We've got passed by Toba, Masia, Fodger's coming past as well. Because I kind of messed that chicane up a little bit, but we're back up the inside of Dennis Fodger. We've got to edge him out a little bit there. He'll be hoping for a better result in this race. Doesn't want to crash once again. That's allowed Mino through. There's been a crash behind. Speaking of crashes, there's neither Mino or McPhee because McPhee's 6th. Here comes Fodger once again. So you can see down the straights they do have a pretty big advantage even in the wet. At the minute I don't want to use too much power mode 3 or anything like that because I'm just trying to suss out the conditions. I don't want to do anything too silly. At the minute I'm kind of just taking my time. A little bit wide here. Is that going to allow Fodger through? Not quite. He got a good run, but you can see that AI definitely do have the pace over me here. They are pulling away from me. I have no grip on the front end, so I can't really use my strength against them so far this season. So I'm going to try and use a little bit of power mode 3, because it should be a little bit easier to manage the fuel in the wet conditions. But there we go, down towards the last corner, then can we try and go around the outside of Fodger? Normally I would say that'd be no problem. Well, to be fair, that's also been no problem here. I was going to say, usually it would be no problem, but in the wet maybe it will be. But to be fair, we have pulled that one off. We haven't got it stopped for the last corner, and this could be dangerous over those curbs. We've lost the position to Fodger. Yeah, well, I thought Guevara, no one wants to pass me for some reason. They all seem to just roll out the throttle. That is a little bit annoying how the AI do that sometimes, because I didn't really cut across them or anything. But Mino's absolutely sent it. It's been a crash though. Toba's down, and oh, Fodger's hit him. Fodger's so unfortunate. Once again, Fodger's down, and he hits Toba's bike. And we hit Fodger's bike there. You saw my rider reacted to it. But fortunately, we haven't been taken down, so we've been extremely, extremely lucky. But we're now under attack from Adrian Fernandez comes flying through. Tatsuki Suzuki going around the outside as well. I've got no pace here. John McPhee's coming through. We all go backwards through this pack. We have not got the pace in these wet conditions. At least in Sector 1. But Sergio Garcia seems to be absolutely checked. We've been hit there by Ortola. Remember back to Sachsenring when Ortola took us out. But I can't believe that. Toba on the curb, high sides off. Poor old Fodger just rides straight into him. Nothing he could do to avoid it. And once again, no points for Fodger. He's had an appalling season. Absolutely terrible. We should probably have a look how many points he's got after this race, because it's really not that many. And he's been there or thereabouts most of the time. It's been another crash a bit further behind, so perhaps I've just got to be careful, sort of keep upright and see if anybody else crashes in front. So Garcia then 46.9 on that lap. I've just done a 48.7. So I'm nearly 2 seconds a lap slower than Sergio Garcia, so we're definitely not catching him up. The win is completely gone. Adrian Fernandez gone at the inside of, I think that's Tatsuki Suzuki through the first corner. No high sides coming out of turn 1. Well, perhaps there was in the background, but not in front of me on this lap. I was about to say there wasn't any, and then I saw the yellow flag, so probably was a couple a little bit further behind. But it seems like I found a little bit more pace compared to them. I've not dropped too far off this group, fortunately. So maybe, you know, we're about halfway through the race. Perhaps if I can get back onto the back of this group, maybe I can start trying to overtake some of them. Although I am actually running out of fuel if you look in the bottom right, so I don't want to run out of fuel again. Ortola's gone past me there on the straight. We'll try and get him back into this corner. We should be able to do that without too much problem. There we go, the inside of Ivan Ortola. I'm a little bit wary of him though since Sachsenring, since obviously he took me out. We've got in front of him on that occasion. See, we're almost 1.5 seconds underneath my time from the previous lap, so a lot quicker on this one. But I am trying to manage the fuel a little bit and also try and keep Ortola behind. But I am starting to feel a little bit more comfortable. If I can just try and get onto the back of this group, maybe get a bit of slipstream off them. If they start fighting, I'm able to re-overtake them. But we are really look at this pack. We're holding up these AI so much. We are really struggling in this race. Oh, there's been a crash. Messia's down. Oh, and Suzuki's down as well. We're being passed by Auto. Oh, almost pushed me into it. But Messia's got back on in front of me. That's how much time I've lost. We've now got past Yama and Messia. But Messia was so far in front of me that he'd actually remounted from his bike. That's from his crash. That's unbelievable. Hopefully he doesn't do anything too aggressive. We've been past there. Oh, dear. Not sure that was Yamanaka coming up the inside. Look at all these riders trying to pass me up towards turn 3. Or it's now turn 4, I think, isn't it? It used to be turn 3. The Pru still around the outside. Which one is that? That's Tatai. Tatai's been very good this season. Yamanaka, though, in 6th place is a good result for him. You can see we've lost a lot of time compared to the previous lap. But to be honest, that's because I made a mistake into turn 1 and then had to try and avoid the bikes that were strewn across the track. But we're going to struggle to get a top 10 here, I think, to be honest, because the AI are seeming very, very quick. We've just got to hope for some more crashes, and it does look like that's quite likely to happen. Honestly, if I could get back in front of Tatai and Yamanaka, get 6th place, I'll absolutely take that, because these are horrible conditions. But here comes Sasaki. Sasaki's got a run on me, even with Palmo 3. The AI, the straight line speed advantage there. Wet grip. Guevara's now down as well, so watch for that on the outside. Guevara's rejoined ahead of me as well. The AI slowing down on the straight because of the crashed rider. And that's put me back up into 5th place now. So all of a sudden, it's not looking too bad. I'm still being attacked by Tatai. I'm on the penultimate lap as well now, so not too much longer to try and hold on. And honestly, if we can keep this 5th place, that would be pretty much a perfect result, to be honest. Here comes Yamanaka there around the outside again. The AI do seem to have more grip as well in the wet. It does seem like they probably just have a bit more confidence. Because you can see I've not really used much of my tyres because we're on the penultimate lap and only took about half out of them. I've not really pushed particularly. It just feels so horrible. There's no grip at all. And Tatai's up the inside and Guevara's trying to go around the outside. So that Tatai's now past Yamanaka. So we're basically in the same position we were on the previous lap. Behind those two, but they're the other way around now. Oh, this is aggressive on Yamanaka. That was so risky. I risked a lot there to go for that one. Really, I didn't need to. But I just want to keep these guys behind. I'm in a position to try and get the inside of Tatai as well in a similar way. That was, again, a very aggressive move. But they are being aggressive with me, so I don't really mind too much. And it is treacherous conditions. You can see, though, we've got the whole field basically packed up behind me. There's people that have crashed that are in this group. That is how slow I am. I mean, we're 3.2 behind McPhee in front. The AI's pace is just unreal in the wet conditions. Adrian Fernandez actually in 3rd place, though. Fair play to him. I just noticed that he's still up there. We're about to start the final lap of the race, so this would be the time to watch the fuel usage. Oh, we had a bit of contact with Tatai there. He tried to go on the outside and touch me a little bit. So I wonder if there will be any more crashes into turn 1. That's just what we got to watch out for on the outside. Although, to be honest, if any of these guys in front crash, I think they will still... they'll have respawned by the time we get there, so we haven't got to worry. There's been a crash behind, but not in front. I'm not sure who that is. But there we go then. The leaders seem to have survived, so it's going to be 5th place at best in this race. I'll tell you what, actually, though. I think the AI are running into tyre troubles, because look how much we've caught up to these guys in front. Was I saying that we were 3.2 seconds behind McPhee on the previous lap? Or 2.1 now behind Adrian Fernandez. And McPhee is still only a couple tenths in front of him. So, the AI, their pace has completely dropped. Well, not the ones behind me, but the ones that are pulled away seem to have dropped away on this final lap. I can hear Tatai. He's surely going to go for a move into this penultimate or the final turn. I've just got to make sure I get the braking right. Don't make a mistake. Don't lose the rear or anything. We've got to watch him coming out the last corner because he will get a good run compared to me. Because the AI have got supreme grip, supreme straight line speed. So out the last corner then, coming up towards the line. I can hear Tatai. Where is he? To come towards the line. We're going to get 5th place here at the Austrian Grand Prix. I'll absolutely take that. What a hectic race that was then. Horrible, horrible conditions. So happy to come away with a top 5 there. I wasn't sure what to expect at all going into the race. You could probably tell that in the pre-race. I just had no clue what was going to happen. But fortunately, we've managed to come home with something decent. Obviously, we had basically the whole field behind us. If we look at the gap, we were 6.2 seconds behind. You see all these riders that are sort of within a second or so of that. We were holding up basically all the people that were still in the points, but managing to bring home 5th place, I'll absolutely take that because that's the top 5. We've not lost too many points there at all. So looking at the championship now then, a little bit of our lead lost there, but still a 59-point lead, a nice healthy lead there, 66 ahead of Andrea Mino. Sergio Garcia moves himself up to 4th position. Like I was saying in that race, he's been supreme in the last few races. Obviously, we battled with him at Silverstone. He's won here again, so it's 2 wins in a row for Garcia. It's just a shame for him that he's too far behind. But looking down, 14th place, Dennis Foggia, 59 points. That's absolutely unbelievable. He's 179 points off the championship lead. He's crashed in so many races. He should at least have 2 or 3 wins under his belt this season so far, but he's just crashed so many times. So moving on to the Teams Championship now then, and you can see we continue to lead 31 points ahead of Snipers, so even with that little bit of damage there, 5th place really helped us out there, so we only lost about 10 points, which is a lot, but that's only the same as us coming 3rd if Mino had won the race anyway, effectively, like maybe a couple points either side of that, but that's not too bad. Considering how much we were struggling, I'll 100% take that, so leading both championships still by a healthy margin. You can see here, it's definitely me carrying the weight, because 18 points by my teammate there, to my 238, so yeah, definitely me carrying the team a little bit there, but overall, we struggled a lot in the race, but pretty good weekend, I'll absolutely take it. So we'll head back to the career hub now then, do everything we need to do between this one and the next race, and then head into Misano. So then, from that weekend we gained 4,400 reputation points, which takes us up to 66,500. And on the credits front then, we gained 4,910 credits, which takes us up to 123,390. We also had a pretty good weekend on the development tests, but once again, we don't really need the points particularly anymore, although actually I think there is one more engine upgrade to get, but again, I didn't do them intentionally, it was just doing my times in free practice, I managed to get most of those. Interesting, I didn't manage to get top speed. Top speed is usually ridiculously easy to get, and at Austria, you should be going top speed a lot, so I guess that was me not using power mode 3, but even still, pretty weird we didn't hit that one. Back here in the main career hub then, there's no notification, so we'll advance forward to the San Marino GP. And no more notifications there, so a very brief stop between the races, no notifications at all, so we'll head into the San Marino GP. In the past, this has been a fantastic track for the player, so don't be surprised if it's another one of those ones where we can just pull away, because the AI tend to struggle a lot here. So then, after practice, as you'd probably expect, we have topped the timesheets, but to be honest, I'm actually quite surprised how competitive the AI were. It was only my final lap where I actually retook the top position, because I was just behind Foggia before that. So to be honest, they're not as far off as I expected, so this could be an interesting weekend, especially if they can up their pace in the race potentially. Conditions are normal throughout, so there's not going to be a surprise rain shower or anything like that. So it could be a close one, but we'll head straight into qualifying 2 now then, and hopefully this is good enough to get straight through. It should be, but you never know. If they do find a bit of time, they might beat me. So here we are then in Q2, and we are actually still top of the timesheet, so nothing really too bad's happened there. We've managed to keep our position. Masia seems to have improved a little bit there to move up to 2nd place, but it doesn't seem like there's really been much more movement. But interestingly enough, once again, coming through Q1, we've got John McPhee. A little bit weird, he seems to be struggling in free practice a little bit, but he's got through to Q2, so it doesn't really matter too much. But we've got Diogo Moreira, Elia Bartolini, and Stefano Neppa as well. The fact it's cloudy might change this a little bit. It's also cloudy for the race, so potentially that might make the soft tyre actually viable in a race situation, which is quite crazy. I'm not going to risk that. I'm definitely still going to go for the mediums regardless. But it is interesting to note. Even still, though, I'm looking forward to this qualifying session because Misano is just one of those tracks where when you hook up a lap, it just feels so good. I actually never used to like Misano particularly when I was younger, but last few years I've absolutely loved it. It's one of my favourite tracks in the game, to be honest. And it's one of those tracks where once you hook up a lap, it just feels so good. There's a certain few tracks to me that feel that way. When I hook up a lap at Portimao, it just feels amazing. Jerez kind of falls into that as well. I also get a similar feeling from Sepang as well, so it's just some of those tracks, when you hook up a lap, it just feels absolutely amazing. And for this, that's one of those tracks. Assen as well, how did I forget Assen? When you hook up a lap at Assen, it's one of the best feelings. It's so, so good. Coming through the last corner then, almost the high side. Getting ready to start my qualifying lap. Now, we've got to be careful for turn 1, it's so easy to overshoot into there, and that completely ruins your first sector. Fortunately, I haven't done that, but I still ran wide into turn 2, which again is going to affect my first sector quite substantially. Just because it's such a flowing section, you mess up one part, really can mess up the others, but we've managed to recover fairly well there. So coming up towards the line then, it's been a pretty decent lap, but you can see it's only a personal best in sector 1 because of those mistakes. 1 minute 42.1. That's only just, I was about to say it's only just pole position, not 7/10, but it's only all over Ortola. So some of the top AI may do some better laps and get a bit closer. This time I've really hooked the lap up. You can see I'm half a second under as we come up towards the line. So it's going to be pole by over a second this time. And I'd say that would stand. I think that will stand. I don't think the AI will be able to improve that much. 1.2 seconds quicker than Ivan Ortola in second position. So I'm pretty happy with that. I probably didn't need to go for that extra lap, admittedly. Probably would have been good enough as it was. But I just wanted to get another lap where it really, really felt good. And I did there. So yeah, I'm super happy with that now. At the end of the session then, it actually was still 1.2 seconds quicker than Ivan Ortola in second place, so a good qualifying there for Ortola. Mino in third, McPhee in fourth, so my championship rivals right up there. Suzuki also in fifth place there, so the riders you usually expect to see up there, to be honest. Ortola, though, is a bit of a shock, although he's been there or thereabouts all year, to be fair. And also we did battle with him a little bit in the previous race. Interesting to see where Messier is. Messier's down in 12th place, Foggia down in 9th, so some of the top guys struggled a little bit there. Actually, where's Garcia? Garcia's 13th. So Garcia, who's won the last two races, down in 13th place on the grid. So we've got some different AI at the front this time, although we've still got the usual two of Mino and McPhee. So we'll head into the race now then. There is a potential where it could be one of those races where I pull away once again, but based on their free practice times, they're not too far off, and if they can get a bit of a slipstream, and I'm not using too much power mode 3, because obviously I've got to look after the fuel, they might be able to stick on the back and pull some aggressive passes, so it's not a done deal yet. So then, we're down here on the grid looking at Andrea Mino in third position, and I'm feeling very confident going into this race. I feel like I've got some good pace. Like I said a minute ago, the AI are not too bad, so they might be able to give me a bit of a challenge. I'm hoping they do, because I love a good scrap, as you guys know. I really enjoyed the battles we've had in the last few episodes. I really enjoyed that Austria race, even though it felt horrible. I did enjoy trying to have a bit of a scrap with the AI whilst also trying to stay on board the bike. It just felt so sketchy. I think, to be honest, if I'd obviously done some practice laps in the wet, I probably would have had better pace there. But even still, I really enjoyed that. Enjoyed Silverstone as well. Enjoyed Sachsenring until I got took out. So I love the races where they're nice and scrappy. So hopefully we do get another one of those, but we do have the potential to check out.
Ready for action here at the Misano circuit. Eyes on the lights now. The San Marino Grand Prix is about to start.
It is indeed. The San Marino GP is about to start. We've got Ortola alongside. We've got to watch out for Ortola. I'm still a bit nervous of him after what happened at Sachsenring, but waiting for the lights to go out here then at Misano. Lights out and away we go. Once again, it's been a pretty good start compared to the AI. I don't know whether they do the braking thing every time or whether that was just at the Kimiring I saw them do that, but they braked as soon as the lights went out, and that's why we always seem to get a really good hole shot into the first corner. We've got the lead for now. We've lost the rear a little bit though into turn 2. That might allow Ortola up the inside. It's not. Fortunately, we are still in the lead of the race at the minute. Ortola's going to be right there. This is not done yet. This could be a proper good scrap, and we've made a mistake into Rio. I think I was on the back shift or something. We've still got the lead somehow. McPhee is now taking the lead from Ortola, so McPhee, really, in a weird way, has sort of helped me out by overtaking the guy that probably could have overtaken me, but now he's probably going to overtake me as well as we go down towards... I've completely forgotten the corner name, but as we go down towards that corner, turn 8, it's going to be Quercia. That's what it's called. I knew it was something. I knew it was Oak Tree, but I can't remember what that was in Italian. But we've lost the lead either way. I need to focus maybe on the racing rather than the corner names, because if I'm focusing on the corner names, that's where we make mistakes. Maybe try to go around the outside of John McPhee then. Suzuki's on my outside. I do remember something similar sort of happening here in MotoGP 21, the career mode. There's been a crash where the AI managed to get in front of me, and then I couldn't get back in front of them, and I ended up crashing, actually trying to make a pass, I think, in the end. I think it might have actually been on McPhee, interestingly enough, but Suzuki's at the inside through Tremonto. Not through Tremonto, sorry, Curvone. See, I'm really bad with the corner names right now. Got 2 wrong on this lap already. And again, I need to just focus on the racing rather than the corner names as we go down towards Caro. At least I got that one right. Dennis on Tube's right behind us. But honestly, the AI... like I said, looking fast on the straights, and if they can get if they get half a chance and get in front of me, that stops me from checking out. I think they seem a little bit stronger maybe in the cloudy conditions as well. But Suzuki looks like he's going for a move on McPhee. Suzuki, I don't think he's won a race yet this season either, so neither of the Leopard riders have won a race as far as I'm aware, and I've lost the rear again to turn 1. The tyres don't feel too good here. Obviously, we've not used the mediums in these conditions yet, and the grip just isn't quite there how I'd like it. And we're now down to 4th place in a race where I thought I could bolt away. So we've got a good run then here on Dennis on shoot. But again, he's got that straight line speed advantage as we go down towards Quercia. McPhee looks like he's going for the lead on Suzuki. I'm going for a move on Dennis on shoe here. Oh, not quite. To be fair, Dennis is a bit too far in front. I think McPhee has just punted Suzuki out the way there by the looks of it. Definitely some contact up the road. But of course, I was too busy focusing on shoe because I don't want to hit into on shoe myself. As we go around the outside of on shoe into Tremonto. And that was a terrible decision because we've ran wide. Fortunately, we haven't lost anything though, just a bit of time. I need to dispatch of Onshu here. Looks like Suzuki and McPhee are going to battle, so that will help me out. I should be able to sort of catch them back up if I do manage to get past Onshu, but I need to get past Onshu ASAP. We've got 4 tenths back to Foggia, so So we've not got threat from behind. We just need to get past Onchu in front. And Suzuki goes for an aggressive pass. They really are going at it, those two. And that's McPhee's gone really wide. McPhee made a big mistake there. And I don't even have to bridge the gap now. Onchu's already on the back of him. So that has probably saved my race, to be honest. But here we go. Getting past Dennis Onchu into the last corner. Misano corner. Made the pass up into third place. So John McPhee's next. Then it's Tatsuki Suzuki. Got to watch the fuel because we're basically even now. So I've got to try and save a little bit of fuel. But on some of these straights, they are gaining a lot of time on me. And of course, it's not like in a practice session where, yeah, I might have been a few tenths quicker, but they were obviously quicker on the straights, that I could make them in the corners in the race. If they pass me on the straights, they'll then hold me up in the corners, so I can't make the time back up. It's like the Yamaha conundrum, although we are 4 tenths underneath even without power mode 3 on this lap, so there definitely is some riding involved. The tyres now feeling a lot more better in the window as well. The grip feels a lot better than on the opening couple of laps, so we should be able to take the lead back here. Where's Onchu gone? Onchu's now behind Mino, and that's a good half second behind, so Dennis Onchu probably made a mistake trying to pass me or something. Or perhaps I just squeezed him out so much through Misano, it put him off. But we're right on the back of John McPhee now then. I think we should still be able to win this race at this rate. Although again, you can see they pull away down towards Tremonto. But I've got a big buffer behind, so I can sort of take whatever lines I want. Suzuki holding up McPhee a little bit through there. McPhee might go for it into Curvone. This could get messy. We could pick up the pieces, get a bit of a tow off of John McPhee, because I'm still trying to save a bit of fuel. Might start using a bit more power mode 3 on the next lap again, because we've got half a lap in reserve again now. Oh, McPhee went for it into Curvone, but he couldn't do it. Oh, they have so much more power. It's unreal. Even when I was getting on the power earlier than them, they were still pulling away from me. It's unreal. The 42.9 then on that lap. McPhee looks like he's going around the outside into turn 1, and he's pulled it off, to be fair. So John McPhee takes the lead once again, but he's going to have to go a bit defensive through turn 2 now. I need to really focus on my riding again as well instead of their battle, because I've just lost a lot of time from that, focusing too much on their battle. But we've still got a little bit of a buffer over Mino, so it's not the end of the world. Suzuki's going back at McPhee though. They are definitely holding each other up now. It's going to allow the pack to catch back up. There's been a crash behind. Oh, look how close they are. Oh, McPhee's pushed them both wide. We've got a run. We've got one hell of a run. This could be it. This could be the difference. This could be where we take the lead back. We've passed Suzuki. We're going to pass McPhee as well. What a mistake from John McPhee. They were battling so hard. McPhee pushed Suzuki out onto the curb. That ruined both their drives. McPhee's back up the inside of me once again. Now Suzuki's got the drive on me. This is going to turn into a proper scrap. This is exactly the kind of race I wanted to have here at Misano. Suzuki's gone very hot into Tremonto. That's going to cost him a lot, but he should get a good exit out of here. There's been a crash behind once again, so a lot of crashes going on in this race, but fortunately not in the lead group. But here we go, then we're closing up on McPhee with a bit of power 3. Are we going to go up the inside into Curvone? Yes, we are. We've got the move done, so we've retaken the lead finally at last, and we've actually kept it for a corner this time as well, instead of just immediately running wide. But McPhee comes back up the inside through turn 13, down into Caro corner. Suzuki's on the inside of him, and Mino's all of a sudden back in the battle. So yeah, they've cost themselves so much time. Although Onchu's half second behind, so it's raw Mino's speed that's caught him up to us. And I'm back past Mino, sort of dispatched of him once again. We go for it the inside of McPhee. Oh, that was aggressive. We've kind of forced McPhee out quite wide there, but you know what, it was fair. It wasn't over the line, I don't think, and McPhee did hit me first through that very fast right-hander, which is a lot more of a dangerous corner to do it in. But here we go, around the outside of Suzuki. Artigas behind us, the fastest lap of the race. That really tells you something about how much we're battling in front here. Here we go, at the inside of Suzuki. What a move. We're going to have to lift off the power a little bit because I had to go a little bit tighter than I wanted to. But we've retaken the lead. If we can get a clear couple of corners. No, we can't though. Suzuki's back up the inside into Rio corner. The AI are up for it today. They are up for a scrap. Well, they're always up for a scrap on MotoGP 22 to be fair, but they're really up for it on this occasion. Here we go, we've got a slipstream off Suzuki, but Mino's got a double slipstream off myself and Suzuki. Mino, will he pass me before I pass Suzuki? Not too sure. On the brakes, we're not going to be able to pass Suzuki at all actually, we're a bit too far behind, but does Mino go try and pass me? He does indeed. We're on the outside of Andrea Mino. Where has McPhee dropped back to? He's still right there, but the other AI are coming now. Fodger's on his way, Artigas on his way, everybody's on their way. So we made a bit of a mistake there, dropped back behind John McPhee. We're on the penultimate lap of the race, I've just realised now, so I do need to actually get a bit of a move on. So we can try and pass McPhee through this section, once again like we did on the previous lap. Although he'll only come back up the inside into the next corner anyway. But Mino's now going for the lead. So all of a sudden, it was a McPhee-Suzuki scrap for the lead. Then I joined in, now Mino's joined in, and Mino's took the lead. Suzuki's been forced out wide then. McPhee has braked because of Suzuki. Why he did that, I don't know, he should have just gone straight through. He would have both passed Suzuki there. So McPhee, bit of a weird decision, but that is the AI for you. Side by side for those two once again. We need to pass these two now because Mino's going to check out. These keep going side by side through the final corner then. I'm using so much power 3. I'm really trying to keep an eye on the fuel because you guys know what I'm like running out of fuel. I do it quite a lot. Fortunately not in career mode so far, but Fodger's on the inside, so is Onshu. We're being aggressively passed here. Everybody's getting through. We're back past a couple of the riders there. We're still behind Dennis Fodger though, unfortunately, and we're running out of tyre grip as well a little bit again. So I think now the pace has slowed back down. My tyres are going off again. Around the outside of Artigas. There's been a crash. I don't know how there's not been a crash in this lead group yet, because this is aggressive stuff. I think Artigas might have crashed actually, because there's 1.6 seconds now back to Ortola, so I think that might have been who crashed. Here we go, then we're looking for a move on the outside of Onshu. Can we try and get the switch back up the inside here? We've got to be careful though, we've only got 0.3 of a lap of fuel in reserve. It looks like Minio's got this one won if you ask me, but you never know what might happen. If there is another sort of mistake from the AI in front, I'm ready to capitalise, but I haven't got the power modes to use it. And this is what I mean, this is about the AI straight line speed. That is better in a race than over a one lap. So here we are through turn 13, we've done it to perfection. We're looking at the inside of Onshu, but we're just not close enough. We lost too much time through that flat out section. We just can't make the difference anymore. I've got 0.4 of a lap of fuel left. I can use a little bit of power mode 3 because we're so close towards the end of the lap now. But I'm not going to get any higher than 6th place. What an unbelievable race here. I thought I was going to win it. But 6th place it is. The AI have absolutely finessed me. Unbelievable stuff. Well, I tell you what, I'm not sure what my rider celebrated over the line, because what a disappointing race that was. 6th place, we did better in that race where we had no grip and couldn't do anything. I can't believe it. The AI, honestly, they were so aggressive. Minio just wins the race and actually a dead heat with Tatsuki Suzuki over the line. What a scrap that was. The AI's aggression helping them out today. The straight line speed that I couldn't nullify for that entire race. I had to go into power mode 2 on that last lap. I should have probably been a bit more careful, but really, I thought I was going to take the lead. I thought I could then pull away again, but McPhee wasn't having any of it. McPhee just bashed me out the way. There was a lot of bashing going on there. A little bit annoying, because I could have definitely, if they'd been clean with me, obviously I would have pulled away, but I suppose they don't want me to do that. So, yeah, that's just one of those things. 42.9 as well. Look how far that is off what we did in qualifying. That's fair way off. So, yeah, if I had a lap on my own, could have done a much better lap time. But you can see, I did say that AI weren't too far off with a slipstream, with aggressive passes. They could beat me, and they showed that today. We just did not have the straight line speed to put up with them, and to be honest, this is a track where usually you'd expect to win, so that's quite a surprise to me. In the championship then, not too much damage, but Andrea Minio winning and McPhee being third, that's not too good. So in terms of this episode, once again, it's one of those ones where we've lost a decent amount of points, but we've still got a 51-point lead, 53 to McPhee, 113 to Suzuki, so we are still looking fairly healthy for this championship, but yeah, once again, another episode where they take a decent chunk of points out of me. And in the Teams Championship then, 15 points still the lead of our team, so that is still pretty good, and 40 points to Max Racing, but yeah, once again, they took a lot of points out of me there, and I enjoyed the battle, but I'm really disappointed with how it ended, just because they all attacked me going on to the last lap. I had a bit of a plan to try and just maybe pick them off, but they had too much speed. But we'll head into the career of now then, end off the episode there. It's been another good one. From that weekend then, we gained 4,200 reputation, which takes us up to 70,700 reputation. And on the credits front then, we gained 4,710, which takes us up to 128,100. Once again, we had a pretty good weekend on the development test front, but once again, it wasn't deliberate, it was a complete accident. So we now have 838 on the engine and 980 on the frame. And speaking of those upgrades, we've actually got some notifications here. So obviously there is that frame upgrade that it keeps telling me to get, but of course we've already got the final upgrade. It lets me pick between them, but either way, it's not really worth it because I've already got one installed. But we can now get the final engine upgrade, which should give us better fuel consumption. Well, actually, I could have done with that in this race, to be fair. Although more horsepower I could have done with that as well. So we'll do that, and that is going to take 5 weeks to do. So we should get that before the end of the season. But there's not a massive amount of the season left, so it won't be too long. Because we are getting towards the crunch time. So 50-point lead at this point is still quite nice. A little bit closer than it has been in the past. I think we've wrapped up the championship at Aragon in the past, so yeah, we're definitely a ways off that, considering that Aragon is like the next race. But I tell you what a race that was. I really enjoyed it. Disappointed by the outcome, of course, but really enjoyed it. Same with the Austria race as well, to be honest, although I was actually quite happy with the outcome of that one. But I hope you guys did enjoy it as well. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you all stay safe, and I shall see you in the next one.